John Bush here, Uncoinventional Living Tour West. Got a podcast update for you. This is part of the Sovereign BTC podcast feed on letstalkbitcoin.com. Get yourself some LTB coin. Join the revolution, the evolution, really. I got an interview for you today that we did with Paul Puey while at Libertopia in San Diego, California. Paul is the CEO of AirBitz, AIRBITZ. It's a Bitcoin directory and Bitcoin wallet. You can find it at airbitz.co. You could download it on the Google Play Store or the App Store. And the cool thing about this wallet is it has a business directory incorporated into it, so it makes it a wonderful tool for Bitcoin evangelizing, because you can show people not only how to use the Bitcoin, but where they can use it. It just makes it all the more real. I sat down with him and we chat about how he got into Bitcoin, the business, why they decided to add a wallet. Started off just as a business directory, and some of the really cool security features they have. And then we chat about how people can download a wallet. And they're one of our sponsors on the Uncoinventional Living Tour, so we definitely want to send them a big shout out. And I've been using the wallet since the tour, and it's great. It works seamlessly, and it's now my new favorite wallet. So we're going to interview him, Paul Puey, CEO of AirBitz. Want to shout out a couple sponsors real quick. Green Revolution Cooling, grcooling.com/Bitcoin. These guys do liquid submersion for miners. Anybody in the mining space, especially industrial mines, will know that it's extremely competitive, and in order to keep up with the increasing difficulty and everyone else, you're going to have to stay on top of the innovative technologies. One of those innovative technologies is submersion cooling. The old way of doing things, you got to deal with the heat, you got to deal with the cooling costs, HVAC. With submersion, submerging the components in liquid, it dramatically cuts down on the cost, dramatically cuts down on the heat, plus you can have a higher density of computers that you put in the same area. So Green Revolution Cooling specializes in that. They're leading the charge in this exciting new innovation. You can find more at grcooling.com/Bitcoin. They're based here in Austin, Texas. So that's always a plus too. That's why I always say Austin, Texas, Bitcoin capital of the world, at least the United States. I'm sure people can debate me on that one. But nonetheless, check them out at grcooling.com/Bitcoin. That's Green Revolution Cooling. And I also want to thank Roberts & Roberts Incorporated, one of our new sponsors. Check them out at rrbi.co. Tim Fry, who is with this company, is an amazing activist, great guy. Him and Megan Kellison, she works there as well. They are big supporters of Bitcoin, and they have a wonderful operation, trusted, been doing it for years, and they recently took off the minimum buy limit for Bitcoin purchases. So check them out. You can get your Krugerrands, you can get your Silver Eagles, you can get junk silver, 90% silver, pre-1964 dimes and half dollars, quarters, all that good stuff. I think that's a wonderful barter mechanism, especially if the dollar crashes. But check them out at rrbi.co, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Incorporated, and if you purchase with Bitcoin and use the coupon code Bitcoin, you'll get free shipping on any purchase. And as I was saying, they recently lifted the minimum buy limit, so now you can buy $10, $20, $50 purchase and use Bitcoin. And again, if you use Bitcoin and use Bitcoin, the coupon code BITCOIN, you'll be able to get free shipping on your next purchase. So they're one of our sponsors. They're helping us to bring this program forward, and they're offering this great opportunity for listeners to take advantage of free shipping anywhere. So check that out at rrbi.co. All right, without further ado, folks, let's move on with the interview we got at Libertopia Festival in San Diego, California with Paul Puey, CEO of AirBitz. We're here with Paul Puey. He is the CEO of AirBitz, which is a Bitcoin business directory and now a secure and rather intuitive wallet that I've enjoyed using myself the past few days. They're one of the sponsors of our Uncoinventional Living Tour, so we definitely want to thank them for their support. And I actually first heard about y'all, Kat and I, when y'all tweeted us on our last tour in June and asked us if we're using the AirBitz business directory, and we started using it right there on the spot and really appreciated it. And now that you guys have a wallet, I've been using that, like I said, the past few days, and it's pretty fantastic. So just want to chat with Paul and learn more about what ideas are going in this wallet, what's next for AirBitz, and maybe give us some tips, too, on how to encourage merchant adoption. Because being here in San Diego, it's unlike any other city that we visited. There's places you can spend Bitcoin all over the place. So thanks for that, and thanks for this great service you've put together. How are you doing today?
Doing well, actually. We're over here in Libertopia, and it's been a blast meeting, I think, a good handful of people outside of the general Bitcoin community, yet people that do strongly believe in the value system of Bitcoin, which I think is super important to us because we have a pretty strong value system, yet at the same time, Bitcoin is kind of going through this definite change and crossroads in the community where people are having to make some choices, and we're hoping that we're able to still, not even hoping, we know that we're going to be sticking to the value system that we've upheld up until now and carrying that through, but still bringing Bitcoin to the masses.
Cool. Yeah, there's often a tension between those two elements. Maybe you can start by telling us how you got involved in the cryptocurrency space.
I got involved just last year, actually. Discovered Bitcoin due to a financial blogger that I followed, and he just mentioned Bitcoin briefly, and I was like, what the heck is this? And he said, oh, yeah, I'm going to put about 1% in. He's one of these anti-Wall Street guys. I researched it, and after about 2-3 weeks, I was sold.
Nice.
I'm like, this is amazing technology.
Cool.
It can disrupt a lot of the large establishments that I've been frustrated with for a very long time. And it's technology, so I have a background in tech, and this is a great opportunity to leverage that background in tech and also in small business. I was a small business owner for a good number of years and operator, so it was a perfect fit for me. And I immediately tried to use Bitcoin, bought it, took an immediate loss or small gain in it, but yet I was still using it, trying to spend it just like you guys, like John Cat, and realizing the pain points and using it and said, well, here's the thing that we could build to make that easier. So we hit the ground running in January and started building.
Cool. And you started with the business directory, which has since grown. It looks like 3,500 plus businesses listed. And there's other business listing services like CoinMap and some other ones, but y'all seems to be a lot more sleek. And I appreciate how you can picks up on your geographic location and shows you all the places in the surrounding area. Which, if you're in Austin, it's really cool to see how many places are around you. In San Diego too. Why did you decide to do a business directory? Why did you think there was a demand or a need for that within the Bitcoin ecosystem?
Just like I'd mentioned, it was a pain point of a Bitcoin user to find where I can spend Bitcoin. And I looked at the other merchant directories and the other solutions, mobile apps, web apps, and realized, God, these are they felt like such garage projects. And I had onboarded some merchants, and I found it incredibly difficult to put them onto some other directories, particularly CoinMap. You almost needed a degree in CAD design because it's basically a mapping tool, and you're using a mapping tool, not a merchant directory. So finding that so challenging, I said, well, this is a problem that we've already solved in mobile apps and in web apps. This isn't a difficult problem, and I actually have two of my co-founders, Damien Cotillo and Tim Horton, had actually came off another startup that just built a business directory. And so they already had the know-how, the skill sets to do it, and we cranked it out in less than 3 months on 3 platforms, cool. iOS, Android, and on the web. Nice. And since then, we've been working on the wallet.
Tell us about the wallet. That's definitely it's a whole new ballgame now that you guys are offering the business directory and the wallet, and it's cool how they kind of incorporate seamlessly into one another. What inspired you to do the wallet, and tell us what sets your wallet apart from some of the other mobile apps?
Great, I can probably answer both those questions in one. The inspiration was ease of setup. That was probably the first piece, is that I had set up other people with Bitcoin. And I said to myself, okay, well, I'm giving this person maybe $5 in Bitcoin, but what's the process to set up the wallet? And it always involved printing something out, writing something down. And I found no one was accustomed to the idea of backing up their money or encrypting their money. This is a very foreign thing to the average user of financial software, mobile banking, and whatnot. I go, well, there's no reason why this can't just simply be a login and a password, right? That's what people are used to. I create a login, I create a password. I might be sick of doing it, but I'm very used to it. And so with just a simple login and a password that creates a person's account, it very, very heavily encrypts it, and it backs it up and gives people access to it from any number of iOS and iPhone devices. So iPhone and Android type devices. And so that was the initial inspiration. Like, hey, we can build this. The technology already exists, and let's just hop on it and let's integrate it with a merchant directory. Our goal was to be an app that, as an evangelist, this is the de facto thing I'm going to send people to, because it's familiar to set up, it's already secure as soon as they set it up, and they already know where to spend Bitcoin. They already know how to make it an actual currency and to really help the economy, and all in one app.
Yeah.
And that was it. And the nice thing is, since we give people control of their funds, their own private keys, we don't have to spend nearly as much money on lawyers and regulators and whatnot. We can focus all that in user experience and design and engineering, and that's what we'd much rather put our time and effort into.
That's great. Yeah, Kat said on a previous podcast when we were speaking about the wallet, the app in general, that it's the how and where of Bitcoin. So it's how to spend Bitcoin, which other wallets do, but it also adds the where component. And just a couple days ago, we set up some street vendors on the side of the road. Kat started talking to them and sold them on the idea, and then I sat down and actually set it up for them and took them through this two simple steps. And before he knew it, they were in with it. But it was easy. It was an easy sell because we were able to say, well, not only is this a way that you can receive Bitcoin, I ended up paying him $10 for the painting, $10 worth of Bitcoin, but you can turn around and see exactly where to spend it. So it really adds a whole, it makes it more real. It takes it out of the abstract. Like, sure, I see, I have some millibits here. I have a tenth of a Bitcoin, but what does that mean? What can I do with it? Well, you just flip over to the directory, hit the directory button, and you have a whole multitude of different things that you can do. So that's great, yeah. Unlike any other wallet, that's an element that I think will really help drive adoption, because you can turn people onto it and they won't just be left thinking like, okay, great, what do I do with this wallet now?
Yep, you guys are the exact target market. You guys are the strong evangelists. You guys are the ones that are making Bitcoin a real currency, making it usable, and educating the public on it. And so we were trying to build an app specifically for those people. But at the same time, it's an app that when you recommend someone else to it, they can feel comfortable using it and feel familiar with it and not feel intimidating. Remove a lot of the intimidating factors in wallets, including seeing long, scary public addresses and seeing foreign values, and the idea of having to, once again, write down these weird long words. Instead, it's login password, and I see familiar things like photos and names and business names.
Yeah.
You touched on the integration between the business directory and a wallet, and it's a light integration, but people really appreciate it. And we came from the City Tacos event last night, where good 30, 40 people showed up, and there's a lot of stuff we built into the wallet, but the thing that I got great feedback about was, I scan the QR code of this merchant, or I send money over Bluetooth, and the wallet already knows that it was City Tacos, and it puts a little photo from the business directory, and they love that. These are little things. I was surprised. I was like, oh.
How does it know? Is he using the same public address each time? Because I know he generates a new address each time.
No, it's actually just it's a little fuzzier than that. All we do is we look at the name that gets broadcast on the QR code, and this is an optional thing that our wallet can do. Other wallets can do this as well. You can put a name, it's called a label, in the QR code or the URI, and he just puts City Tacos, and when we suck it up, we compare that and say, well, okay, there's a City Tacos in the merchant directory, and we look up the little photo and throw it right into your transaction. All of that gets encrypted, local client side on your wallet, before that transaction detailed information ever leaves.
That's brilliant.
So it's entirely private.
I don't think there's any other wallets really doing anything like that.
No.
So let's talk about the importance of having the private key encrypted on the user's device, as opposed to having the private key on the side of the company that controls the device, like Coinbase does, for example. How important do you think that is as far as someone being able to keep their Bitcoin secure from theft or hacking or corruption?
Right. Well, there is the first aspect of privacy. So pretty much if your private keys are managed by another organization, then you lose all of your privacy to them. That's pretty much a given. Now, that's okay for a lot of people, and so that might be a better solution for a lot of the population. The issue of security comes when you have what we call counterparty risk. So an entity that may go belly up, might mismanage their funds, or might mismanage their security infrastructure. What's that? I heard something around here. But yeah, they mismanage that, and then you're at risk due to them mismanaging your funds. Another issue, which a lot of people aren't aware of, is that there's actually an ease of use and user experience issue when you have someone else manage your keys. So if they put everybody's money into a hot wallet that's on a server, it's a massive security issue. But all the money is available to spend. If they don't put all of the money on the server as a hot wallet, which almost all the hosted wallets do, like they put a lot of it offline, like say 90, 95% offline, that means that only a small fraction of that is available for use to spend at any one given time. So take the example of 100 people each having a Bitcoin in a hosted wallet, whatever it might be. And if 95% of that is offline, 5 people go and drain their wallet and spend, Now, the sixth person won't be able to spend their money until somebody physically goes to a safe and unlocks a piece of paper or a USB key and then reloads the hot wallet.
And it's almost like fractional reserve.
It's kind of like fractional reserve. I give them a little bit more credit than fractional reserve because all the coin are at least they're still owned by the bank.
But there could be a run that
makes it unspendable for a duration of time. And in the Bitcoin world, here's why I think this is broken: is we're taking a banking model that's based on debt. The transfer of debt is what we've been doing with the dollar and the euro. And you can transfer debt very, very quickly. It says, hey, I owe you something, we'll deal with it later. With Bitcoin, we expect real money to get transferred instantly. Right? I'm not going to say that you paid for this until I actually see it on the blockchain. And that is hard to put into the banking model. I think if you try to put it in the banking model, you're kind of playing with fire. Bitcoin and Satoshi never intended for that to be the way we transfer funds. And unless we do it on the blockchain, and I think we're really in for some challenges in that hosted wallet space. And I think they still serve a purpose. They could be great vaults, when people don't want to deal with cold storage. They do multi-sig vaults and whatnot. But I think from a spending point of view, we're going to run into some issues, especially as Bitcoin grows. And there's a ton of people using it, and the volumes start to really increase.
Sure. Another thing that you'll have as far as security-wise is the creation of a new address with every transaction. Can you tell me how that works?
Yeah, exactly. So that's HD wallets, or hierarchical deterministic wallets, and we call them like rolling addresses, just changing addresses. So every transaction or every receive that you have or request that you make, you hit that little request button on our app, and it generates a brand new address for you. Every time you send money, there's almost always change into that send. It's just like you break a 20 when you buy something, and that change goes into a new address. That does a couple things. Number one, it significantly increases privacy. If you're using a wallet that doesn't do this, pretty much expect that your privacy is up in smoke. Like anyone you've ever interacted with can see every transaction you've ever made or ever will make. Second thing it does is, in addition to increasing privacy, it actually allows us to do a really cool thing that many people don't even know our wallet has. We have so many little hidden things. But if you send a request over email or SMS to someone that isn't physically near you, say, hey, can you go pay me for this? And you send them a request. It sends a unique address to that person over email and SMS. You punch in their email, whatnot, and what happens is that person might not pay you on the spot. They might pay you a day later, a week, a year later. When they do pay you, with the average wallet, you just see some millibit amount come through, and you're like, what the hell was this for? I probably remember $30, but in a month, the value of Bitcoin goes up and down. With our wallet, we actually save inside of the wallet who you sent it to, the amount in fiat at the time you requested that value, and how you requested it. Was it over email, SMS, and what was the number or email address of that person you sent it to? So when that money comes in, you actually see in the notes field that was a request by email to this person on this date for this amount. So you're not wondering to yourself, like, what the heck was this for? Yeah. It's actually a beautiful little feature. Exactly. And that address is specifically tied to that request that you make, and we never reuse that address. The next request you make uses a new address. So it gives us the ability to be almost like a mini payment processor, but for the consumer.
Nice. And that's all encrypted on the client side?
All encrypted on the client side. Now, of course, your email goes out and your public address goes out to that person. Of course, we can't encrypt that because the person's got to read it. But all the information, that metadata, all of that is encrypted client side by your credentials, not by ours. So this is a key question to ask. What is it that's encrypting? Make sure it's always your password that's doing the encryption.
Now, can I manage multiple addresses from within the wallet, or they all just pile into the same sum of Bitcoin?
So they all pile into the same sum of Bitcoin, but what our wallet does, and maybe I'll back up a little bit, the way our wallet works is that there's a concept of an account, which is just your login and password. Inside of an account, you can have multiple wallets. Each one of those wallets is a chain of addresses, and it's hidden from the user, because our take is the average user doesn't want to manage multiple addresses. It manages the creation of new ones every time you do a transaction. But you can create multiple wallets, and each one of those wallets has a completely separate chain of transactions. So if you want something that's totally separate with a different balance altogether, then you go ahead and create a new wallet. That can be the kids fund, that can be the savings fund, the mining fund, that can be the fund that goes to your vacation trip, whatnot. Okay. And the beauty of it is our data model, coming soon, about Q1 of 2015, our data model is going to allow us to take one of those wallets and create it such that it's shared with a different account. So now you can have a wallet that's shared with your wife, your lawyer, your accountant, and you can give them read-only access, meaning they can't spend out of it, but they can see the transactions, maybe edit the metadata on there, which is great for an accountant. You can give them full access, like you and your wife can share a wallet. Or, also coming, you can give them multi-sig access. So our goal is to finally deliver the first easy-to-use multi-sig solution for multiple parties.
Awesome.
That's all built on top of the kind of wallet data synchronization architecture that's under the hood that allows people to log into multiple devices.
Cool. If I had a preference to have transactions sent to the same public address, perhaps if I was running a nonprofit and I wanted it to be transparent and I wanted to refer donors to the blockchain address so they can see the history of all the transactions, is that something I'd be able to do with AirBitz?
It's something you could do. It's not something that we generally recommend, even though you can see you have some level of transparency. In general, you're at one point in time, you may be switching wallets, you may be switching addresses. I think the transparency can come from the reporting aspect, like, hey, here's our reporting for the month, for the year, and whatnot, versus the addresses. I think that there's some importance in not exposing a public address repeatedly over and over again. The thing that I would advocate going forward, once the technology starts to harden, are actually stealth addresses. And that's where you can post a single address out on a website and people can pay it, but they pay it by actually paying a different public address generated from that stealth address over and over and over again. That would be great for anybody, not just a nonprofit that wants to be out there and transparent, but it would be great for people that, someone performing on the street can post a QR code of a stealth address, and people don't have to see how much he's making in donations.
Sure.
So that's what we'd like to do. In the meantime, we really encourage not reusing addresses. It's just that it's convenient at this point in time, and yeah, definitely people will do that. Yep.
Okay. You seem to be a whiz with merchant adoption and all these places.
I can't say it was me.
Okay.
A lot of people have helped in San Diego. We have a great advocation community here.
Your crew here is doing excellent work on that front, and that's something that Kat and I try to do as we travel across the country. Do you have any tips or tools, tactics that people can engage in when they're visiting one of their favorite restaurants or their local pub?
AirBitz has been one of the tools. I can't say it's the only tool, but actually showing a merchant the pins on the map and how many merchants actually take it in an area, if you're in an area with decent adoption, really helps. Sure. It makes it feel like it really is a currency.
Be part of the club.
Exactly. Like, hey, join the club. There's these other places that you can spend it if you receive it. Although I'd rather not merchants convert their Bitcoin to dollars. That's still a resort that I use. Hey, you can just receive it as actual U.S. dollars. But I think one of the biggest tools that we've utilized is our community. And I tell them, hey, you take Bitcoin, we've got a meetup that pulls 20 to 30 people every couple of weeks, and we'd love to, especially for the food and beverage merchants. And I think those are the hottest item people want to adopt Bitcoin first and foremost. You tell them, we'll send a group over to you guys like once a month, once every couple of months, of this many people deep, paying with both Bitcoin and dollars, because there's some people that don't have Bitcoin. And that definitely lights a little fire, under their butt, going, I'm missing out on this business of new people that can then refer other people that aren't necessarily Bitcoiners to just love their business.
Sure, they may not have frequented that business in the first place.
Exactly.
They not accepted Bitcoin.
So I tell people in areas that maybe don't have a meetup group, I say start one. You might find that there's more people in the woodwork that you don't know about. And once you have a bit of a critical following, that's a huge amount of power that you would have over these merchants. All right, just to say that you can bring these people in. Because I know I was a small business owner. If someone said that they can roll 20, 30 people on a dead Tuesday night, it's like, it was a no-brainer.
That'll change your month.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So finally, before we let you go, why don't you step the listeners through what they need to do in order to set up an AirBitz wallet? If you could just give us the step-by-step, play-by-play.
Got it. All right. So if you have an iPhone of version 4 or above, iOS 7 or above, just simply go to the App Store, search for AirBitz, AIRBITZ, and download the app, install it, launch it, and tap the Wallets button, right? You just want to go create a new wallet. It actually launches right into the business directory. We just instantly want to show you what's available in your area. But you've got a wallet button right there. Tap the wallet button, create account, enter a login, a password, a 4-digit PIN, hit send, and it just starts creating your wallet. Could take a little while, 15 to 30 seconds. We're actually applying quite heavy encryption, backing it up to multiple servers. And once that's done, you've got a wallet. It's ready to send, ready to receive, right there and then.
Awesome.
So it should be a fairly straightforward process. We're looking at making things even smoother and faster. We know where we can improve. We're never happy with what we've built.
Cool.
We like what we've built, but we're never happy. We're always going to try to improve.
It's a strong foundation.
Yeah.
And what if I wanted to sign people up to be part of the business directory as a user? What's the process for that?
So on our webpage at airbitz.co, you can go to Add a Business. There's a little button on the top to say Add a Business, and right now we hand curate everything. So you just tell us the name of the business, the website URL, and very important, whether or not they offer a Bitcoin discount and how much that discount is. Hopefully it's 5-10%.
Yeah.
And we curate everything else. We go to their website, pull some photos off their site, look for their social media links, their hours of operation, description,
nice.
And then we send it to the merchant and say, hey, how do you think it looks?
Cool.
Yep. So we try to do a lot of the work for you for now until we implement a better UI for people to use externally.
Sure. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, tell us the websites one more time, and thanks for putting out this awesome tool.
All right, thanks for the interview. The website, once again, is AirBitz, AIRBITZ.co.
All right, that was a great interview. I want to thank Paul again for his support of the Uncoinventional Living Tour and for working so hard to put together this awesome business directory and wallet. If you haven't tried it or used it, it's really cool, really simple to use, and just the incorporation of the business directory just takes it to a whole nother level, especially with using GPS to see where you are and what businesses and places are in your area. If you live in a big city, you'll be surprised how many places you can use Bitcoin. And of course, on the Uncoinventional Living Tour, we're strongly encouraging people to use Bitcoin, to reward those people who are pioneering this new digital currency and who are turning it into more of a currency, more of a legitimate currency where everyone can see that it can be used in your day-to-day transactions. So definitely check out the AirBitz wallet, airbitz.co. I want to shout out a couple more sponsors real quick. Thanks to watchmybit.com. They are the micro Bitcoin payments for video services, pioneering, speaking of some pioneers, and they're doing their beta right now, open beta. So check them out, sign up, help test out the system. It's really going to empower digital journalists and video artists to get paid while providing a platform for people to check out videos advertisement free with micropayments. And of course, it's fun to scan QR codes and send little micropayments. I still get a kick out of using Bitcoin every time I use it. And then I also want to thank Broker.com, BRAWKER.com. It's a proxy facilitation service where if you want to buy something from a business, especially online, that doesn't accept Bitcoin, you can send someone some Bitcoin and they'll buy a digital gift card or whatever online, order something to your place, and you send them Bitcoin and they buy it for you. Pretty simple. If you want to get Bitcoin while still respecting your privacy, you can do that as well. Check out Broker.com, BRAWKER.com. And we'll be doing a run-through podcast where I do a live transaction here pretty soon in the future. On the Uncoinventional Living Tour, I also want to thank cheapair.com for their support, and GIFT, GYFT. You can still use the Uncoin1414 code to get $5 back on your first $25 Bitcoin purchase to purchase gift cards there. We only have a couple more podcasts in the Uncoinventional Living Tour West series. We're going to be bringing you an interview I did with Bob Podolsky about peer-to-peer mutual aid societies, which will be a topic that we're going to be carrying forward on the Sovereign BTC podcast. And, of course, Kat and I are going to be putting together a little paper and bringing you a podcast with our in-depth analysis on what needs to be done moving forward in the space, what works, what doesn't in the Bitcoin travel space. So let me shout out that magic word before we go any further. The magic word today, this is an easy one, will be the coupon code that you can use in order to get free shipping from Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Incorporated. I mentioned it earlier in the podcast when I was shouting out the sponsors in the first part. It's the coupon code you can use to get free shipping on a Bitcoin purchase. You enter this coupon code when you use Bitcoin, hint, hint, and you'll be able to get free shipping on anything, and there's no longer a buy limit. So that's the magic word for today's podcast. All right, I hope you enjoyed the interview with Paul Puey. Keep it real. Use Bitcoin. Peace, freedom, liberty, love, joy, justice, and anything that makes you happy. I'm out.